Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another tier list. I haven't done this in a while. I've been kind of forgetting about it. So, we are here with Generation 6, which means we are finally hit Mega Evolution. So, this is something I've actually been kind of a little bit excited for. So, let's immediately just get right in here with Chespin. So, I actually kind of like Chespin. When it comes to anime, I really just kind of don't like him. So it's a little hard for me to go with Chespin any higher than B tier. When I played X and Y, I actually did go with Chespin myself. So I also do have a little bit of a fondness for him. So I will actually put him in A tier. Quilladin, do I really need to explain why? I mean, it's Quilladin. Chestnut, I like the idea they went with here with the like I really don't remember what Chestnut's based off of, but I think that it really kind of just looks really nice. However, I kind of miss like the dark brown and darker tan like color palette it had. I feel like it probably would have looked really nice on it. In fact, I feel like that's kind of what the shiny is based off of. And it looks really nice, but the base form is just not that great. Fennekin, I don't really care for, but at the same time, I don't hate it. It's kind of just middle tier for me, which is why I'm putting it in the middle. Braixen, I'm one of the few people who actually like some Pokemon that go on to become a bipedal creature, and I think that Fennekin going into Braixen really worked. I think that Braixen being bipedal was really the best way to go. Just because I feel like anything past being the first version with Fennekin would have looked really weird. I just think that really big like bipedal Pokemon are really strange and just don't really work out. That's why most of them are bipedal. And lastly is Delphox. Similar to Quilladin, I really do not like its design. However, I really like the mage design it has. I think it's really a solid design, just kind of botched in execution. But its base, like, inspiration is absolutely amazing. Froakie, much like, I don't know, Froakie I do kind of like a little bit more than Fennekin, which is why I'm going to put it in B tier. I mean, really, I really like the Frubbles. I think Froakie with the Frubbles is really interesting. I really hate how it's only in like the anime where it's actually like used and mentioned outside of the Dex entry. Next up is Frogadier. Frogadier adds to the awkward middle stage water starters, and I just do not like it. I don't think that it really worked out. I really don't know what else to say about it. It's a botched design. Do I really need to explain why Greninja's there? I don't feel like I do. Bunnelby, I don't like Bunnelby. and honestly the same goes for Diggersby. Next is the Fletchling line. So Fletchling, I really like Fletchling. I think its design is really nice. It is a really nice, like, the basing it off of I want to say it's based off of Robin slightly, but at the same time, I don't think it's the case. I don't know the exact bird. I think might actually be a Fletchling or something like that. I have no idea, but I think that it's absolutely adorable. Same with Fletchinder. I think that it's super, like, it makes it goes to Fletchling, and it just is like its cooler big brother, and that's just awesome. However, Talonflame, it's really cool, but at the same time, that gray like parts of its body make it look really stupid. Like, I think they should have just stuck with like the baby blue, and I think it would have looked a lot better. kind of surprised there's not all the Vivian forms, because honestly, I do prefer other Vivian forms than others, but I do get not like filling it up halfway with Vivian forms. But Spupa, I'm just not a huge fan of regional bugs. I think that they are just not needed anymore. Like having like an occasional one here and there is not that bad, but just there's so many. However, oh wait, that the Scatterbug. I don't know why I was saying Spupa. I'm staring right at Spupa the entire time. I actually really like Spupa. It just looks like Scatterbug, but it got a haircut in I don't even know what that is surrounding it, but it's beautiful. I love it. Vivian, Pokeball form, I don't really care for. I'm just gonna base it off Pokeball form. So, Pokeball form, it's unnatural. I think that if they would have just kept him to like more natural designs, it would look a lot better. However, with the Pokeball form, it's the same thing with like Voltorb and Electrode. Is that like these Pokemon have like a design of something that didn't exist when they were created. Litleo and Pyroar. Litleo, I'm pretty indifferent on. I think that I like the design a bit. Like I think that's a really cute design, absolute adorable Pokemon. Pyroar, I only like the female Pyroar with the like non-existent mane and having like the mohawk. But Pyroar kind of looks like Zamazenta, but like a hero or whatever the shield form of Zamazenta, but not as cool. Flabebe, Floette, and Florges. I don't really care for Flabebe or Floette. I think they're both kind of basic designs and not really all that interesting. They should have been grass type. I think that's something that really is kind of obvious. Florges, though, I really like Florges. I think its shiny looks really cool. Turning the green into white. But overall, like the different color patterns and them being natural looking rather than like Vivian's unnatural designed Pokeball form makes it a super interesting design while also staying kind of simple. And again, it should have been grass type. Skiddo and Gogo. Gogo is absolutely adorable. That's about all I have to say about it, because honestly, Gen 6 is like the generation that I like have the least amount of knowledge on. Like I've watched the entire generation of the anime, and really outside of like the Pokemon Ash had on his team, and that like outside of like what the main characters' Pokemon were, I have absolutely zero knowledge on anything else. For the most part, there are some like other things. Like honestly, I thought Barbaracle and Binacle were Gen 5. I just realized they're on this list. So Gogo, I guess B tier. I like goats. I think that's a really cool looking design. Don't know why they made it a grass type, but what I really like, the one thing I remember about Skiddo and Gogo is that Skiddo is based off of a bike, and Gogo is based off a motorcycle, which is absolutely awesome. Pancham, I love pandas, so I'm gonna throw Pancham up on A tier. However, Pangoro, I'll also put A tier. I think that's pretty cool that it's still like, it's just like Pancham but angry. For fruit, as a poodle owner myself, 10 out of 10. Best Pokemon. Esper and Meowstic. Esper, I do not like its design whatsoever. I think it's really just kind of stupid looking. Like I really like the lore of it, how it's like constantly in pain, unable to control its psychic powers. And the design kind of reflects that, especially in the eyes. But other than that, Esper's just kind of boring to me. Meowstic, I really like the female form. I think the female form looks really nice. Being mostly white with the blue accents as opposed to blue with the white accents. However, I think that male Meowstic also looks pretty okay. And they're also one of the few Pokemon to have multiple variations for gender. The only other Pokemon like that is like Nidoking and Nidoqueen. As well as Gallade and Gardevoir. Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash. I don't really. They just look like swords. They don't even like. It doesn't even really look like they have eyes or mouths. Like unless you truly like look into the design. Aegislash though, I'm gonna put Aegislash B tier because again, I don't really care for how it doesn't look like a Pokemon. It just kind of looks like the sword. But at least it has other appendages like arms. That, and it also looks funny in blade form. Spritzy and Aromatise. You know, a lot of people hated on Spritzy and Aromatise for them being like the Plague Doctor as well as a can dancer. However, I actually really like Spritzy. Mostly because it's not Aromatise. But it really does the Plague Doctor well. However, I feel like they could have worked pretty well as being the first Fairy Dark types before the Grimmsnarl line. By making their design a little bit darker. Like for example, let's take Aromatise. First off, Aromatise. I'll put it in the C tier. Instead of making it all pink, doing like the magenta and turning that black or something to make it give it like that darker feel as well as keeping the pink, or even making the shiny look like that would have been really perfect. I don't even know what Aromatise's shiny is. I don't really care to know. So, Swirlix and Slurpuff, I cannot stand either of these two. These Pokemon are absolutely horrendously designed. It looks like what Alchemy should have been. Or they look like what Alchemy looks like what these two should have been. And it looks like they just butchered it so poorly. Inkay and Malamar. I don't really have strong opinions on Inkay, but I actually really like Malamar. I think Malamar is incredibly interesting, and the fact that like the evolution method I really like. So that's one pro I gotta give to Inkay is like having the columns be upside down during the battle. It's kind of weird because it's like you wouldn't think that it would even be possible since I don't know how the system could know it's upside down. So, Binacle, Barbaracle. I refer back to Swirlix and Slurpuff. Terrible design, absolutely horrendous looking. Both monstrosities. And one of the reasons why I don't like Gen 6. Scrope, Binacle, and Barbaracle. Dragalge though, I actually kind of like I feel like this would have worked a lot better as its own Pokemon without Scrope. I don't think it needed an evolution. Just because it feels like they designed Dragalge and then Scrope rather than the other way around. So it just kind of felt like Scrope was just a downgrade. Which, I mean, that's what most evolutions are. I mean, like, 1 sword, 2 sword. The rock with arms. Rock with many arms. And now there's 2 rocks. So. But it feels like they... While, like, Honedge and Doublade look like it's, you know... It's gaining another sword. It looks like it's... I don't know. It seems, like, really boring to me. My logic is weird. I forgot this one's name. Oh my god, it's like... I feel like an idiot right now. Like, I genuinely feel like an idiot. It was Clauncher. That's what it was. Clauncher. D tier. It's a really cool design. I think, yeah, I'll put it into C tier. It's a really cool design, but again, it just kind of feels a little pointless. Just because Clawitzer is absolutely amazing. I feel like that they really should have still stuck with the like giant cannon arm and like made the arm just the right arm a little bit bigger. And also keep it that nice dark blue. But overall, Clauncher and Clawitzer are both really cool Pokemon. Helioptile and Heliolisk. Helioptile, I'm just not a huge fan of. Same with Heliolisk. I think they're just kind of boring looking. I really like Heliolisk's like sun design, so I will actually bump it up. Tyrunt and Tyrantrum. I don't really have strong opinions on Tyrunt. However, Tyrantrum, I absolutely love. I think that's super cool looking, and genuinely is like a super terrifying Pokemon. Like if there's one Pokemon I'd probably say like that's not like legendary or mythical that I wouldn't want to exist, it's Tyrantrum. Amora and Aurorus. I absolutely love Amora. It's so adorable. Aurorus, it's still adorable, but at the same time, it's not as adorable. Sylveon, this is probably like the most like controversial one, weirdly enough, because people be like, oh, well, like, because it's like there are people who can't stand Sylveon, and then there's also like a lot of people who absolutely love Sylveon, who will probably want to crucify me for saying that it's eh. And there's probably also people who hate Sylveon or like you like don't have an opinion on it. I mean, yeah, I mean like Sylveon's not that great, but at the same time, it's also not bad. Hallucia, as a wrestling fan, absolutely love this guy. Beautiful design. They found a way to make a luchador into a Pokemon. It is absolutely magnificent. Dedenne, every Pikachu clone gets this treatment. Pikachu clones all suck. Carbink, just go with Diancie. Goomy is S tier. Goomy is the dopest Pokemon. Sliggoo and Goodra both gonna go in A tier. Both solid designs, but they don't top Goomy. Klefki, it's just keys. Sentient Key Ring. Phantom, I really like Phantom's lore, where it is the spirit of a child who died while being lost in the woods. Absolutely terrifying type of backstory, and one of the reasons why I love Pokemon. Trevenant, it's Phantom but cooler. Pumpkaboo, I mean, I like it more than Gorgeist. So I'll throw that in B tier. I think its design is a little bit weird, but at the same time, it's based off of Pumpkin, so I won't be like, oh, it's an ugly design. It's based off Pumpkin. I'm not that dumb. Gorgeist, though, it looks like a pumpkin with a penis on its head. Bergmite's a silly little looking guy. I like him. Avalugg, though, is another one of those Pokemon that I would absolutely love to see it at like its natural size. And I feel like its natural size would be kind of like the size of Hisuian Avalugg. So just to be able to like stand by one would just be absolutely amazing. Defensively, it sucks. It's shiny. It looks like it's just frozen urine, but that just makes it even cooler. Noibat, I do not like the design of Noibat. I think that it just looks really silly, being so small, and just kind of, it looks like it could hardly fly. Noivern, here's where a bit of controversial one is Noivern. I'm not a huge fan of. I think that it's a good design, which is why it's going in B tier and not really so much C or D. But I'm not a huge fan of the color palette. Having the purple red and cyan or turquoise doesn't really work for together. I think switching the turquoise to either keeping it purple along with the wings, or like having it be red, or switching the red to like a cool color would have been much better. Next up we have Xerneas. Yeah, as someone who plays Pokemon like somewhat competitively through Showdown, Xerneas is awful. Yveltal, I love using Yveltal. As you have seen through like most of my doubles VGC teams, I have used Yveltal the like most alongside like Zacian. Zacian Yveltal duos. It's just such an amazing design. The backstory of it is really cool and really terrifying, and it's steak. Zygarde, I respect Zygarde's design, which is why I'm gonna put it in B tier rather than C tier. But other than that, I'm indifferent to it. I like how it has so many different designs. It has the 5%, 10%, 50%, and 100%. And the fact that Bonnie owned a legendary Pokemon for the majority of X and Y is just really confusing. But I still think that it's a really cool design myself. Diancie, I didn't put Carbing that high. I put Carbing very low. So what do you think I'd think of Diancie? I don't think that either of them were needed. I think Diancie, while it has a really interesting type combination in Rock and Fairy, it makes it super weak to Steel, which makes it really hard to use. And it's also just kind of a boring design and boring moves. More defensive than offensive, too. Which for me is just really boring to use. Hoopa's got one of the coolest personalities in Pokemon, just kind of seeming like he just doesn't care and is just there to have fun. And destroy people while he's at it. Volcanion, the only reason why it's in C tier, is probably the only Pokemon in C tier that I actually have an opinion on. Because I absolutely love having a water-fire Pokemon. I think water and fire is a type combination that needs to be used more. However, its design is just so hideous that if it wasn't for that ugly design, Volcanion would probably be up in A tier, at least. Now, on to the biggest part of this list is the Mega Evolution. So first up, we have the Kanto starters: Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. So, Venusaur. It's going to be kind of hard because, like, I base it mostly off its design, and it's like the Mega Evolution is just kind of slightly different from its base design. So, however, Venusaur, I'm going to put it in B tier. I think that it's a really interesting kind of addition to it, making it look more like a jungle. Just kind of makes it feel a bit bigger too, because I don't think Mega Venusaur gets any bigger. I don't think any Pokemon really changes size. Like outside of like Mega Altaria, like most of them just kind of change like their general like body type. Megazord X. The one positive about me picking up having Pokemon X instead of Y was having Charizard X. Mega Charizard X is an absolute peak design. I feel like the shiny of regular Charizard should have been this, as opposed to being just like the black with red. Although its shiny does lack, just turning it into red, which I think is really stupid looking. And it just kind of feels like a bit of a ripoff. I think other than that, Mega Charizard X is like super interesting, and turning Charizard into a physical attacker as opposed to a special attacker was a gamble that I feel like worked really well. I mean, I really don't have an opinion on Charizard and why. I mean, I have fun using it if I go into like Gen 7 OU or something like that, and using it on using it on like a Sun team or something, you know. But other than that, I think it's just kind of boring. It just made Charizard like with spikes, with more spikes. Blastoise, Mega Blastoise, I absolutely love. For two reasons. One, I biased towards Blastoise already, and sure, it's just adding another cannon. However, if anyone is familiar with Pokemon Reddit, uh, there was someone who added a cannon onto Blastoise for like an entire year straight, every day, and it just added so much comedy to this Pokemon that I love it. An absolute ton. Mega Beedrill. Mate, this is what Mega Evolution should have been. Rather than giving Pokemon that were already super good even better Mega Evolutions, they 100% should have just stuck with giving terrible Pokemon Mega Evolutions that made them good. And with Beedrill, it still wasn't amazing. It peaked in UU, but on that, it's absolutely mind-bogglingly strong. I think it has base 165 attack, which is absolutely wild. But I mean, look how many stingers it has. It's so terrifying. And oh my god, I love this Pokemon. I actually really like it. Similar to Mega Charizard X, turning a Pokemon that is a physical attacker and making them special is, or actually it's the opposite of Mega Charizard X. I think kind of works with Mega Pidgeot. However, where I think it fails is the fact that Mega Pidgeot really doesn't have great special moves. It really only has Hurricane. So using it is a little difficult. That and Pidgeot itself is not really all that strong. The only thing that it really gets buffed in is like special attack and speed, and it gets no bulk. Mega Alakazam, the King of Spoons. Giving him that like super big beard was also a really nice touch, and I think really adds to showing how like intelligent Mega Alakazam is. Mega Slowbro, making the Shelter or the Cloyster basically eat it, and just kind of like Slowbro just like punches through the shell is super interesting. And the fact that it spins like he kind of like spins like a top, he like teeters on his tail, is really interesting. Mega Gengar, best shiny Pokemon. I gotta say that. Like, I think this is probably the only Pokemon that will be swayed at all by the Mega, because Mega Gengar is absolutely beautiful. My brother got a Mega Gengar. He got a shiny Gengar from the GTS, and then he uses his Mega Evolution throughout the game, and I was always so jealous of it because it's the absolute peak like art, like coloring. Other than that, I mean, like Mega Gengar getting Shadow Tag in that was really interesting. Getting even more dangerous offensively made it an awesome design. Yeah. This is what Mega Evolution also shouldn't have been. Is, sure, they took a Pokemon that isn't very good in Kangaskhan. However, they made it a little too powerful. So powerful, in fact, that it loses Seismic Toss in Generation 7. And Mega Evolution and Parental Bond gets nerfed, making it instead of 1.5 times, 0.5 times, it goes to 0.3, I believe. If I'm right, I might be wrong there. But it just made, like, Mega Kangaskhan was just way too powerful at the point where it was literally to the point where it became an Uber, and it became incredibly strong in Ubers, because of the fact it had stuff like Power Punch and just insane coverage with the elemental punches and Body Slam, Return, Sucker Punch, Drain Punch. It was just super strong and way too overpowered. Mega Pincer. I don't really have much experience with Mega Pincer, but I absolutely love how it keeps its core design, and really the only difference is that it actually grows wings. It doesn't turn it into a flying type, if I recall, but it might. And the fact that it also gets Aerolate is also really strong, really cool. Gyarados losing the flying type kind of made it a bit worse, in my opinion. And I also wasn't too high on Gyarados in general, but I think that this design just kind of gets a little goofy, making it just kind of fat with these like weird looking wings. Aerodactyl, again, I wasn't a huge Aerodactyl fan, and I think that getting this Mega Evolution just kind of looks a little goofy as well. Mega Mewtwo X, along the same lines of Pidgeot and Zygarde X, making a special Pokemon physical works really well here. Getting especially since Mewtwo has such a strong physically offensive move pool, as well as a specially offensive move pool, allows it to be a super flexible Pokemon in general. But Mega Mewtwo X keeps the especially offensive style, as well as giving it a crazy boost in attack. It makes it also gives it a really interesting design, giving actually makes it like stand and that, and it keeps it on the ground, as well as being like, defensive, as well as, I really like Mega Mewtwo X. It's one I've always gone with when using Mewtwo competitively. Mega Mewtwo Y, taking the tail away and making it a ponytail is just kind of weird, and honestly kind of ruins design for me. Mega Ampharos, it gets the beautiful hair. It sucks, but the beautiful long locks is just absolutely beautiful. The tail too, getting also the beads and that. I really don't know anything about Mega Ampharos. In fact, when I think Mega Ampharos is typically one of the ones I forget. Mainly because I've never used it. I've never had a desire to use it. And it just is kind of boring. Mega Stelix. Kind of the same thing as Gyarados, except for the fact that, it's just making its head a lot bigger. So for Mega Scizor, nothing huge changed about Mega Scizor. So that's why I'm going to put it into D tier. Mega Scizor really only got a design change. I mean, it got some slight attack changes, but outside of that, it just kind of became the same Pokemon, which to me is just kind of lame. Mega Heracross, I don't know what they did with Heracross, but it's wild. Mega Houndoom, I've always really liked Houndoom, and I think that basically turning into a Hellraiser is just absolutely, it's again same as Heracross. I don't know what they did, but I love it. Tyranitar, the weird opening on its back kind of reminds me of Shedinja, but it's like Godzilla turning into Shedinja. It's just kind of weird. The Hoenn starters, Sceptile, I actually really like the needle, the tail missile that it has. I think it was a super cool design. And the fact that they were able to turn it into a dragon type was a bit surprising. I think that because it's sure they did it with Charizard turning it into a dragon type, But at least with Charizard it made sense because it was a dragon. Sceptile, it is a lizard, which I mean is a descendant of a dragon, but no lizard has really ever been a dragon type just for the fact that it's lizard. So, but I think that Sceptile was an incredibly strong design. Blaziken, somewhat similar to Scizor in the fact that it just was Blaziken, just kind of cooler. It also turned into an actual, it kind of reminded me of like either like a wrestler or as a boxer, which I absolutely love that idea. The flaming wrists being more of like big like shooting flames was also really like awesome to see. I don't know what happened to Swampert, but I don't like it. It looks like he just decided to let himself go. The Bride. I don't have anything else to say. I think that the long dress kind of is really nice on Gardevoir, and just kind of is like where a lot of the like initial thoughts of being like Gardevoir is just the female counterpart to Gallade kind of came from. You know, since I mentioned Gardevoir, I'm just gonna go straight to Gallade. Even though Gardevoir was in X and Y, Gallade was from Morass. Gallade, I don't really have a strong opinion on. I think it's an interesting design, but it was also just kind of plagued by not getting buffed in the right ways. Giving it more defensive buffs was what it needed more than being more offensive, especially since they didn't make it faster. It just kind of made it Gallade just hit a little harder. But other than that, it had terrible defenses, it had terrible speed, and it was still a little better, it was still a little faster, but at the same time it needed like pretty much that entire like addition of base stats into speed. Sableye, I mean, he's just carrying a gem. Like, other than that, it is literally just Sableye. Mega Mawile, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Kangaskhan. And, like, they made a Pokemon that really sucked, it did need buffs, into one of the biggest threats ever. Mega Mawile just being really strong. I mean, really, that's not a bad thing. I'll throw in B tier. That's not too much of an issue. Especially since some of the Pokemon I'm mentioning here were already really good, and they made it even stronger, and I still love them. I think you already know who I'll be talking about with that. Oh, that's one I'm terrified to go into, because I don't know which one's which. Agron. The true Godzilla. Absolutely monstrous design. It's kind of hideous, but at the same time, it's hideous in all the right ways. It's like Heracross. It is just ugly in the perfect ways. Mega Metacham. I don't like Metacham itself, and the Mega doesn't improve on this design like some Pokemon. Like, I know I yawned. Like, I know I ranked Heracross and Ampharos kind of low in Gen 2. But, like, you know, the Mega Evolutions kind of really improved on their designs. However, when it comes to Mega Metacham, it just kind of gave them a turban. And that's about it. I already really love Manectric, and I think kind of giving him the fur that just kind of looks like a lightning bolt was hilarious and makes it super, like, interesting, I guess you could say. Sharpedo, I mean, it's mediocre. Camerupt, again, the same thing. It's kind of mediocre, but in a good way. Actually turning its like volcano things into actual volcanoes was where was I? So yeah, Megaquaza. The only negative part I have to say about Megaquaza is the fact that they gave him like the Team Magma logo on his forehead. Just kind of looks really stupid, especially if you're in Gen 7. Mega Altaria turning into an actual cloud is kind of hilarious. And the fact that they gave it the dragon typing to mix with Fairy was really cool. Especially since Fairy is immune to dragon, so it can't be hit super effectively by that. It kept the same weaknesses as it already did, so it kind of improved. The only downside, the only other like weakness that was changed was losing the rock weakness because it's no longer weak to rock. Or actually, it gained the fairy typing. I don't know why I think it was already fairy. Banette. I think Mega Banette is probably S tier because it truly looks like a nightmare now, and is truly terrifying. I don't know why it got Prankster. I don't think it really should have gotten Prankster. Giving it something like Nightmare, or not Nightmare, whatever Darkrai's ability is, I feel like probably would have worked a little better. Since it's based off of haunting dreams and turning them into nightmares, stuff like that. The Edgelord himself, Mega Absol. I don't really have a strong opinion on Absol, but if I had to say it's an alright Mega design. I do like the wings. The Jawbreaker, Glalie. I love just how goofy it looks. It looks so stupid, but at the same time, it is absolutely terrifying. I can only imagine how painful Mega Evolving is for it. Salamance. Turning it into like a crescent moon, like plane, was kind of weird. And again, turning it into a special attacker it worked really well for it. Metagross. This is when Metagross truly became like a staple especially for like Steven, but also Pokemon in general. With Mega Metagross finally bringing a lot of attention to it, compared to like it had been in like OU in like Gen 4 and Gen 3, but it was never like a Pokemon that like everyone was like, oh my god, I love Metagross. And then in like Gen 6, when you got a Mega Evolution, everyone's like, oh my god, I love Mega Metagross. So Metagross really got a great like attention from it. And it also became incredibly strong, getting Tough Claws, a massive attack boost. A lot of his attacks, like Meteor Mash and Zen Headbutt, both making contact, just made it absolutely terrifying. I think this is Latios, since it does go by alphabet, kind of. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this is. I'm gonna put them in the same spot. I'm just gonna put them both in D, just because like they really should have made them separate designs. They even could have kept like the same design, just made it different colors. Like giving them the same color would have probably been fine. Or like make Latios like a dark blue and Latios a dark red, as opposed to being like a light blue and a light red. Megaquaza, it is the Pokemon that revolutionized anything goes and made it an actual thing that wasn't just to bar a weird weird version of Arceus in Gen 4. Became incredibly strong. And it's the only Mega that can Mega Evolve without a Mega Stone, which is why it became so strong, is because it could use stuff like White Herb mixed with its Dragon Ascent attack, so that it could basically have a drawbackless Mega Evolution. They just kind of gave Lopunny yoga pants that she ripped. But I still like it. I like the fact that they made it a fighting type, which, I mean, really didn't do a lot for Lopunny, but at the same time, it was a normal type, so it really only had one weakness. So if it were to change at any typing, it was mostly just going to be bad, unless it was like a steel typing or something. Mega Garchomp's ugly. Easily the worst design of a Mega, at least. Mega Lucario, it really improves on what Lucario was and kind of makes it more of like a fighting type. Like, I think you could have just removed the fighting type from regular Lucario and it still worked perfectly fine as like its own kind of Pokemon. Or even, like, honestly, for myself, I would have made Lucario a psychic type more, at least its base form, just because of the aura kind of being something associated that you would think with psychic types. But yeah, it's Mega Evolution 100% a fighting type. Big Obama Snow. I like how it just got chunky and like sprouted shoulder blades out of its back. Mega Audino. I don't really have that big of an opinion on Audino. It's okay, I guess. And I'm not a huge fan of Chandeliers. But there we go. That is the Generation 6. What's it called? What is this called? Tier list. So there is the full list. Mega Evolution finally done with. So there it is. Feel free to crucify me in the comments or elsewhere. I will live with it, I guess. So Gen 7 should be coming soon, and then we go into Gen 8. And when Gen 9 comes out, Gen 9. So see you then.